Hey everybody, welcome back to 52 Weekends. This is supposed to be a travel channel, but we kind of got on this vehicle path lately. I don't understand what's going on in this country. You ask people what they're for and against, and everybody's got to be way to the left or way to the right. Are you for water? You need it to live, but you can drown in it. Are you for fire? You can burn your house down, but you're going to get hypothermia if you don't have some. I'm really getting sick of this. I'm for this, I'm against this. So I really wanted to throw out here. Here's my partner driving a Tesla. There's a good place and a time for EVs, and like it or not, I think about 20 years from now, if battery tech keeps coming, that's where we're all going. Deal with it. But what are we supposed to be doing today? And today it seems more, especially if you're putting on a lot of miles over the road, gas versus diesel. And I'm pretty confident I've spent more time in EVs than just about anybody watching this video. And I've probably spent more time driving light duty diesels than just about anybody watching this video. And I've put plenty of time on driving gas. So let's talk a little bit about gas versus diesel. It shocks me how many people are out there that, oh my gosh, they're horrible smokers and you don't want anything to do with them, or oh, the fuel economy and the efficiency is so much better, you gotta have them. So let's just make sure we got a couple of facts about this when you look down on gas versus diesel. First off, where are you getting your facts? There's a ton of garbage out there on the internet that's actually put out by people in the industry. Just like they've talked about how the car magazines are never going to like the EVs because Tesla doesn't spend any money advertising. There's a lot of websites out there that taunt this like fewer repairs stuff. Ask anybody that's bought any of the Ford diesels after the 7.3. They've spent more repairing their diesels per 100,000 miles than it is to buy a replacement crate engine for gas. They're faster from a standing start. Maybe if you're pulling a cement mixer behind you, but just adding the extra weight onto the vehicle and the transmission process, I don't know where this is coming from. But so check your sources and use some common sense, because there's a lot of nonsense out there on both sides of it. Same thing here, something called the Diesel Brothers. Well, what are they going to say? They're going to make this big braggy thing about diesel efficiency, and they talk about oh my gosh, I don't even want to get into the comments, but 25 to 30% higher fuel economy. Well, maybe so, but that fuel economy comes at a cost. And when you look out there in the world, what are the pros and cons? You're going to pay a lot more for diesel on the front end. Your insurance on your vehicle is going to be higher. Your maintenance costs, DEF, oil changes, all those kinds of things. With modern gas engines where you don't have points or replacing plugs and all that, sorry guys, diesel is just going to be much more expensive to maintain. So based on my little bit of research, if you're in the business of pulling bulldozers, pulling horse trailers, pulling commercial loads, well then yeah, you're probably in the land of diesel. But if you're in a vehicle like most light duty pickup trucks, 10 to 30% of the time, and if you've got a newer Ford, you can check and see what percentage of your time on your engine readout has been spent idling. On mine, it's about 20% of the time. Well, gas engines idle a lot cheaper than a diesel. So here's Car and Driver, which again they're paid for by advertisers, and they're talking about diesel models, what's available, and little bits on here about calculating the miles savings cost. Well, one thing that's happened since about 2018 is with the cost of gas prices in the US. So I pulled up, okay, we've all kind of seen this happen countrywide now, where diesel prices have gone up, and the price per gallon on a gallon of gas is now in that 350 range. This is December 2022, but on diesel it's up closer to $4 a gallon. So here you're spending 25 to 30% more on fuel so that you can get a 20 to 30% savings, and that's before you account for things like the oil changes. Every diesel that I've had, and talking to mechanics and engineers from the manufacturers, if you don't get a good synthetic like a Shell Rotella full synthetic in a diesel and keep the filters clean and do regular oil changes, you're going to have problems, injectors and valve train and everything. So on those diesels, an oil change costs 2 to 3 times as much as a gas engine. So you're going to have those higher costs. And then you've got DEF. There's a whole bunch of DEF calculators out there that what do you pay for DEF, how much you use per gallon, how much does it work. For those that don't understand what DEF is about, diesel is just about the dirtiest carbon fuel that we're still burning after coal, but you don't shovel coal into a car. People argue, oh, electrics run on coal, but that coal's being burned in a fixed coal plant converted to electricity, which is cleaner for the planet because it doesn't give off so much heat and it's a more efficient burn. But that's a whole different animal. So yeah, electric burning anything, even garbage, is cleaner than internal combustion on the road burning anything because of the inefficiencies of a road going vehicle and the loss to heat. You can look that up and see it. But here's a regen filter. And basically what they're doing inside of these diesels to try and catch some of the particulate is they create this gigantic filter to catch all the particulate, but it would plug up and your diesel would stop running after a little while unless you're running wide open on the highway and keeping it hot all the time. So then they do what's called a regen cycle, which is really a chimney fire. And if anybody's ever been around a chimney fire, you know it's hot, it's dangerous, it's bad. So if you're running a diesel around town or in a car, you're going to be doing this regen all the time. And this DEF fluid helps keep that filter clean. The only way it makes sense other than full load on the highway is if you go with a diesel delete kit. There's different websites out there. If anybody bought anything on a website that said, hey, do the delete, make sure you print out and keep all that delete stuff, because when the EPA comes after you and sues you for $2,500 per vehicle plus parking your vehicle till you put the DEF stuff back on, you want to go back and find that website and sue them for telling you to do it, because it is legal to delete your vehicle if you're not going to run it on public roads or highways or on government projects and things like that. So I guess if you have a farm tractor in certain states, you can do deletes. But if you're going to go down the road, and more states now, when they first started the whole delete thing on big semis, 2007 was the last year you could buy a semi or a big dump truck or something without the regen kits. So these guys ran those trucks as long as they could, especially in states that were really being tight on the regen. Now certain states like California, even if it came without that, you're just not allowed to run that vehicle. They're not allowed on the roads. And certain truck drivers that I know won't go through or to certain states because they know they're going to get busted there. That's going to get a lot worse as things move forward, as we move to more efficient gasoline that runs leaner, higher compression with turbochargers. The advantages of diesel goes away, and as people get more on EV, these guys that are parking diesel pickup trucks in car chargers or doing their smoking of bicyclists, they're blowing it for themselves and everybody else so fast, creating so many haters. You're stuck with this. So I know this is more of a rant than a factual data set, but if you're deciding today, should I buy gas or diesel, I think it's going to be harder and harder to get diesel fuel as EVs take over, and diesel differential cost over gas is going to get more and more expensive. And the states and municipalities, especially these urban areas, are going to start bearing down and cracking down, just like they have on catalytic converters. If you don't have the converter on your car, you better get one or you're going to get fined or they won't let you run it. These guys that have deleted all these pickup trucks, they better stay rural, because if they start driving on any of the interstates, probably about after 2024, 2025, it's going to be a problem for them. My opinion, not trying to start fights. I hope this helps. If anybody out there's running a diesel because you're going down the highway, pulling a heavy load all the time, I get it. That makes sense. It's the right thing to do. But if you're not pulling a heavy load at least 3/4 of the time, and if any of your regular commutes aren't warm enough to get that whole thing heated up well, especially that regen kit. If your typical drive is less than a half an hour, forget it. Do not touch a diesel. I'd like to hear from anybody that actually drives a diesel to see if I've got any of this wrong. Thanks, listening, subscribe. Talk to you soon.